Hi everybody, welcome to Anti-Ruggers United. Today we have an AMA with SafuMaxx. So I would like to welcome the developers from SafuMaxx and everyone that's new here today from their community. Welcome to Anti-Ruggers United, and we're excited to have you here. And let's get started. You guys want to introduce yourselves? Who's here from the devs? Tell us a little bit about yourself, about your background in crypto, and also like what do you do in the real world, and how you guys got into this project.
My name is Jerry, and I head up this project. And basically, the team behind me, I met around a year ago in another project. They've been together for probably 3 years, doing things together, following all around. They're very well known in the BSC communities and in the lounges there. So a very honest-based team. A little bit of degen mixed in there, but everybody has to have their little bit of excitement here and there. In the real world, I actually have a manufacturing and retail wholesale business that has been around for 20-some, actually, no, about 40 years. I took over it about 5 years ago. So my background is in business and all the dealings from there. Good things and bad things. Been in the crypto world for a little over 2 years. I started out as a miner and knowing absolutely nothing else about it, hardware background. So learned crypto from that standpoint moving forward, mining Ethereum a little bit after I started getting into it, and any proceeds from mining, I started investing and learned more and more about the scams, the rugs, the real projects, the failures, the not so good failures, and just everything in and out about the crypto world. So I will introduce you to the team first, and then we can talk about the project and where it comes from. First of all, we have Bro, Old Man, Ape Strong, Bobbin. I have Mr. Magoo as our dev, who actually writes the contracts, and then DepthSize does our graphics, and really becoming a good wizard with the bots and the other things. So with everything we approach together. So it's an equal partnership through it, and we work through the ideas and everything that's there. We have a couple mods that we brought in with us that we know from previous places. So pretty much we're all together. We're all one big happy family, if you will, worldwide family. So the project itself starts last fall when Ethereum decided to start going proof of stake. And this guy came out with the idea of Palm Chain, that he was going to introduce this proof of work chain to take over the world and take over the meme coins. So he drew a lot of money in and got some things started. Some things went really well, and the tokens were thrown all over the place. The money was blown all over the place, and it started to implode as time went on. Those who are from that world know exactly what I'm talking about. And towards the end, when everything was just falling apart, really, there were 2 successful tokens left on the chain that were really successful and still holding their own. It was UMC and Max. And basically, Max decided they were going to try to just take over the chain and give it a fresh start and get things back on track. And the old owners of Palm just were not making a good transition or making the possibility. So KP and Nyan decided they were going to launch their own chain so they could have the projects, bring in the projects from Palm that were still there, and start fresh. So when they started doing that, very well aware of the whole situation around. I like their approach. It's business-like. It's action plan, date-based. This is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it step by step. And they have shut up all the naysayers, if you will. They've done a really good job of pushing this through. The chain actually launched a couple weeks ago for the miners on the 11th. It went on CEX. So when they started talking about making MaxxChain, and I saw the plan that was there, figured, okay, I want to do something here. we're going to create this project. And I talked to these guys I knew and said, hey, I want to do this. What do you think? So we went over and we developed what we want to do and where we want to go with it. And we plan to launch a couple on the MaxxChain a couple weeks after MaxxChain launch. That way to give it time to settle out a little bit. Then we come on strong. So most we bring some from within the MaxxChain, try to keep involved there and let everybody know who we are. We bring a lot more from outside the chain. So anytime we go in, we have to introduce a lot of people to MaxxChain and then introduce them to our project.
All right. So one thing I would like to, get over with first is, talk about the team, and you guys did talk about that already. And I noticed there for your summary, for your show post, you guys have Dev KYC. So can you tell us a little bit about who's KYC'd and how, and if anyone is actually doxed or just KYC with like a third party?
I have KYC'd with a third party with Cognitos for myself. Since I'm the one that put this together and I'm the front man on it, here I am. And did that very early when we were getting things together. I approached MaxxChain and said, who are you partnering with to do your KYC? And they referred me to Cognitos. So I went through all the steps through it just to let them know and get that on record. And it's there. Docs, I've put myself on video on several of the AMAs and everything else. I can do it here if you like. We have nothing to hide. We're very open and transparent in everything that we're doing, and more than happy to share whatever anybody wants to know.
Okay, and is that any of you guys are doxed, as in the community knows your personal, like your actual name, or like socials, or are you just doxed with the video?
Basically, doxed with the video. Between the team members, there is a lot of personal information shared between us, and we know each other, who we are, where we live, and a lot more than that. So to the community itself, no, it's not so open.
Okay, but you guys all know each other, or for the most part, you know each other's like in real life, or personal information.
I have never met any of these people face to face. I know real names. I know addresses for most. I know phone numbers. I know emails. So yeah, we pretty much very tight group between us. We know there's yes.
All right, that's good. And what was I going to say? And who is the developer, like the actual developer for the contract itself, and who would be the owner and manage all like the contract, the read, the right to contract, all those commands?
Right now, Mr. Magoo, I might have missed him when I introduced. Mr. Magoo wrote our contract, and the actual contract is ready to go. He's working on our swap for our website right now. And he has control of what we want to do with that contract at the moment. And myself, I'm the owner of the project, but he knows the nuts and bolts, the insides and outs, and he's very well known in the web space as a person that goes into problematic contracts and helps fix them for groups. He actually lives about an hour and a half from my house, so it's not any far stretch. And so he has control over what's going on with the contract, but everything that we do as a group.
Okay, so basically there's no no way that there could be some issues because you guys hire some outsider and he has control, so everything is safe in that with that matter, right? And what about audit? Because this seems like it's a fairly complex contract, because I was reading a little bit about it, about the rebates and stuff. So you got to make sure that it runs the way it should. There's no loopholes. So have you guys done any audits?
We're not planning on doing any audits other than internal. What's happening is he's actually not going to, he's running the contract in the test net right now to make sure that everything runs the way it's supposed to be and the way it is. Honestly, it either works or it doesn't. You either trust the team behind it or you don't. An audit is, to me, a waste of money if you're on the up and up and everything's doing what it's supposed to do. If anybody doesn't want to, come in with us, join our Telegram, hang out, watch it happen. Join in when you're comfortable. I'm not here to sell you and say, buy, buy, buy. You're going to be a millionaire overnight. Just buy everything. Come in, join the community, get to know everybody, get comfortable. If you want to invest, great. If not, that's okay. Get to know us. That's where we are. We're going to have a lot of fun with this project, and we're going to carry it through to the community, support the community, and that's what we're all about.
No, I agree. I agree. Like a lot of times the audits don't really do a good job anyways. And if you're really creative, there's ways to, put in loopholes. And, if you really want to scam, you can still scam, right? So, but one thing that they are good for is for the project owners themselves to make sure, that the contract actually works. Or another thing you could do is you could always, test. And have you guys done testing, or will you be doing any testing on the test net of the contract to make sure everything works the way it should be?
Absolutely. It's being tested on the MaxxChain testnet, which has actually been up for a while now. And everything step by step, we want to make sure the rebase works correctly, the dividends program, the rebase switches from one phase to the next, just every step of it the way it's supposed to work. And we'll run that for a few days, make sure there's no glitches or anything else. So absolutely.
Okay, perfect. All right, that sounds good. Because I mean, like everyone knows here, I don't really care so much about KYC or even audits. It's more about trusting the team itself. But we do ask these questions because a lot of times, even though you trust the team or the team is good, there could be a mistake or someone in the team that literally just wrecks everyone else too. So even teams themselves sometimes get scammed by other members. That's why we ask these questions, like how well do you know each other? Are you doxed each other, or at least to know some information? So that kind of brings a little bit more of a safety factor to that. So it's not necessarily that we won't trust the team, but it was in the past where the team themselves got screwed by either the contract dev or someone else, some third party, right? So it's good to kind of get all bases covered.
Yeah, I've seen it happen. In another project I know of, they had an outside dev who was KYC'd to the hilt, and he wrote the contract. There were problems with it, and he ended up stealing the money out of their staking contract. And it was fully audited. So he built a back door into it where he could access it, and it was just not a good thing.
And yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's like you say, the KYC only goes so far because, it's only as good as the company. That's why, within our group, our contract is within the group, which is very strong and very positive.
Okay, that's good. It's perfect. That's what we want to hear. All right, so all my other questions as of now are about the project. So do you want to go ahead and introduce the actual project? Tell us what it does, what's unique about it, if there's any gimmicks, or if it's a meme, just basically the use cases, what the token does, and what the project in itself, what it's all about.
Sure. We are a positive rebase token, which for anybody that's not aware of means you just hold the token in your wallet, and the entire token, at launch, we're going to have 400,000 tokens. Every 15 minutes, by the nature of the contract, the token count increases by a percentage. And that continues basically for 3 years on the way we're doing, actually, yeah, 3 years the way the contract is written. So a lot of the positive rebase projects that are out there have extended the high rebase period for a year. And there's only two that I know of that have actually made it to that year. And it's just, We're at a 363,000 APY, which means your tokens are just pumping into your wallet. The problem is if you don't have enough buy pressure into it, the token price is going down, and that scares a lot of people. So it's just the nature of it. In a month's time, your tokens will double in your wallet. With no activity in a month's time, the price per token will halve in your wallet. But at the same time, you got to watch the market capital, because with no activity in that month's time, you're exactly where you started. Your value is exactly where you started. So what we've done to help people understand this more, since all the projects seem to fall apart, 5-6 months into it, if they last that long, if they're not a scam to begin with, is we've shortened the high rebase period to 3 months. So you don't have to wait a year to see what's going to happen next and then never make it there. Stick with it, run with it for 3 months. At the end of 3 months, we drop the rebase down to about a third. So it's going to be rebasing at around 121,000 APY. What that does is, with the burns that are built into it, with any decent activity in the token, it's going to turn deflationary. And there will actually be less tokens created than burned, which really, that will affect the price in the opposite direction. So that's our reversal. Anybody that sticks through it and actually sees what's happening, by the end of that second 3 months, we start the whole process over again. So it's almost like a relaunch, if you will, just to keep everybody in it, excited, and those that stick around enough to understand what they're doing, they get to go through it again. At the end of the first year, we start having the rebase. So imagine you're mining Bitcoin every 4 years, it halves your rewards. Well, we're doing the same thing, only you don't have to buy any mining equipment. You don't have to do anything extravagant. All you have to do is hold, and your coins are going to continue increasing, but at half the rate. And then 6 months later, another half. And then 6 months later, another half. And then that last year, they will stay at the same level. And at the end of the third year, the rebase stops altogether, and we're a standard token with burn built into the contract. So we become honestly totally deflationary with any activity. So the key to the project is to get your position as early as you can and hold. Because what we're doing in the background is, when the first lower inflationary period takes place in month 4, we're going to introduce staking NFTs in month 3 that you buy, and you can start staking. So when your coins stop growing as fast in your wallet, that NFT will grow you extra coins in your wallet, and then you're even loaded up even more for the next high inflationary period. On top of that, our general utility is we are doing AI-based prompt-generated NFTs, which we have a system in place, but we're not happy with it yet. We're not introducing it right away. At the beginning phase of our project, we are rebase, get your position, hold your position, make a little bit of dividends on it. And as we get further into it, when the rebase starts slowing down, we'll be introducing the AI-generated NFTs, which means you go in, you enter a prompt, you get an NFT in your wallet based on your prompt, kind of like a Starry AI or one of the image generating websites. We're converting that into NFTs. The NFTs are tradable, they're yours. And we're looking for a quality program that's affordable. We're not looking for $1,000 NFTs or anything, a couple dollars, so you can put something in. If you like it, you got something cool. If you don't like it, you haven't broke the bank to do it. And the money that generates goes back into the project, into the wallet, into our dividends, and also a rewards basis for those that generate the NFTs. And that's essentially what the project is and where we're going with it. So any questions to dig a little deeper?
Okay, yeah, so the way the rebase works, right? So this is 0.02, that's per 15-minute period, right? The 0.02%.
Correct.
Okay, so one big thing that I don't know where it's at. I was trying to find it. Was essentially the pie chart. I mean, you guys even have a the image in here of all the token distributions at launch.
Yes.
Do you have that anywhere?
I don't have the pie chart. We can get that up because that's a very good idea. I can give you the token distribution and where we are, though.
Okay, yeah, because that's what I'm looking for. Yeah, so can you tell us what the token distribution looks like?
Absolutely. We have 14,000 tokens that are set aside for the initial team. Those tokens are locked for 1 year, so they're not accessible by any of the team. It gives us the incentive to actually make this work, last it long time, because that's all we get out of it, other than the dividends, which we'll get into the tax structure. We are running a private sale that's getting ready to close out. There are 90,000 tokens available for the private. Anything that is sold will be issued prior to launch. Anything that is not sold will be burned at launch. Then we have a pre-sale that actually starts on Monday, the 21st, and that's running for 3 days. There's 150,000 tokens available at pre-sale. And again, anything that's not sold in the pre-sale is going to be burned. So that leaves give or take 150,000 tokens at launch that are available for the general public to buy, get in, go with the program. But at the same point, the rebase, we're not starting for 24 hours because we want to make sure there's no issues with launching the contract and everything there is in line, no problems on the chain. 24 hours later, we turn on the rebase. So once the rebase is turned on, every token in every location is going to add to itself every 15 minutes. Those are in the burn wallet, in the LP, in your private wallet, in the contracts, everywhere. The SafuMaxx token increases. So that's the distribution to start with. So
okay. All right, so you said, hold on, you said 14K team, right? 90K private, 150K pre-sale. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, let's see. 14 plus 90 plus 150. That's
244,000 or 254,000, I believe.
Yeah. So what about the other what do you call it? Whoops, hold on 1 second. Yeah, the other 146,000.
Those are available for purchase at launch.
So those are all going into liquidity?
Yes.
Okay, so 150,000 is going to pre-sale, 146 is going into liquidity. So that would mean that what's the liquidity percentage, do you know, from private sale and from pre-sale that's going to go into the liquidity pool?
Yeah, right now 75% of the pre-sale is going into the liquidity pool. And everything, all the numbers right now are based in USDT because we haven't done the power conversion. Simply, it's a new chart, a new chain. We wanted to give it time to make sure that it levels out, which it's been holding very steady. So at the end of the week, we'll actually have the conversion and know more of the percentages. But what actually goes into the liquidity depends on the burn at the end of the pre-sale. Unless we sell it out, then if we sell it out, then
okay. So is it just 75%?
75% of the pre-sale is run directly into the LP. Yes.
Okay, so if 150,000 tokens are going to go into pre-sale, assuming
Right.
the price would be the same, then you would need 112,000 tokens at 75% to add to liquidity, but you have 146. So that's because the price is actually going to be higher, right? At launch price is going to be higher.
Yeah.
So you would need even less tokens. So so you guys are going to have some tokens left over then, right? Because you only need 112,000 if you're going to do 75% of pre-sale. Yeah, or are you going to figure out at the end of the time what's the rest of it's going to be burned, right? Like whatever is going to be left over?
That's correct. Okay. And those tokens that are sold in pre-sale, that's being converted to power, and the power is the other side of the LP.
Yeah, exactly. And Crypto King, 75%. He said LP is huge. But don't forget, this is only from pre-sale. From private sale, you're not putting any into LP, right?
That's correct. The private sale is being basically our pre-marketing and also to generate more into our treasury fund so that we can support, since with it being a high rebase and very high inflationary, we want to have a very strong treasury to support the community, keep people involved, and also do buybacks, burns, buybacks, giveaways whenever needed to keep things going on track of where we want to go. With this token, we are not looking for a very, we're not looking for huge green candles. We're looking for a sideways chart. Sideways chart means we are successful and we're doing what we need to do.
Oh, and since we're talking about this, can you guys in the community, they're asking, can you go over the actual numbers for private sale and for pre-sale? Basically, how much USDT and tokens are going to be sold, which you kind of mentioned that already. Basically,
Sure.
dollar value and also where you're currently at.
Yeah, we're, like I said, we're closing out the private sale this weekend. And the private sale is 90,000 tokens available at 0.3 USDT. So you're looking at $27,000 that is going towards our marketing and into the treasury to begin with, if everything's sold out. We're probably about 60% sold at this point. So we got some more things coming in. We'll see where we are when we close it out. And if not, like I said, it's just going to be burnt and our beginning tokens are going to be less. When we get into the pre-sale, you're looking at 52,500 USDT because the price for a pre-sale is at 0.35 USDT. And that's our hard cap. Our soft cap is half of that, which is 75,000 SafuMaxx, and it comes out to 26,250 for the soft cap. And again, once we hit the soft cap, if we don't hit the hard cap, any additional will be burned.
Okay, but the team percentage is still going to stay the same?
Yes,
Or the 14?
Yes, the team percentage stays the same because they're there and they're locked.
All right. So for the private sale, there's not going to be investing either, right?
No, there's not investing in the private sale, but the private sale is basically friends and family, people that we know, and team members, and those that buy in, ones that we trust to hold the floor.
And there's no limit, or it's like a soft limit on, I think you said $2,400, something like that, right? Per person.
The limit in the private sale is 1,500 USDT per wallet. So
Okay.
that's where it is. In the pre-sale, we're at 1,250 USDT. And then launches, obviously, do whatever you want.
All right, that's cool. So so private sale is about, it says 70% filled. So 24,000, 25, something like that, or 20 in the 20s, $20,000 worth.
Right.
And pre-sale is going to be about double that, right?
Right.
If it hits the hard cap.
Correct.
Okay, so it's going to be a fairly low market cap token still.
At launch, yes.
And so I guess the big thing about with Rebase is you're going to get your 0.02% per 15. How much does that calculate out roughly per day? Let's say 0.015 whatever times 15.
Yeah, it's
times
like
4 times 24.
A little over 2% a day. I think it's
Okay,
like
2%.
2.3, 2.2. So if you have 100 tokens today, when the rebase starts, the next day you're going to have 102 tokens. And then that's compounded. So everything in your wallet is rebasing. It's not just your original.
Okay, so first is going to be an inflationary. It's going to go, the supply is going to increase for the first year.
The supply will actually increase for 3 years, but the rate of increase changes. During the first year, it changes every quarter. During the second year, it changes every 6 months. And then during the third year, it stays where it is until at the end of the third year, the rebase is gone.
Well, I mean, if you look at it that way, then yes, I agree. Then it's going to increase. But with the burn, right, there is a 5% burn.
Absolutely. That 5% burn with any activity will actually turn it deflationary after the first year, but also during months 4 to 6 and 9 to 12. Actually, 10 to 12.
And then also for the last 2 years, right? Because I feel like this small percentage for the year 2 and 3 is probably smaller than the actual 5% you're going to get from burn, unless there's no volume at all. Then
right.
Of course, so.
And our goal is to keep the volume there, keep people coming in, interested, playing with it, and get the NFTs try to get it into some sort of mass adoption where it's not just something there for 1 or 2 people, but actually something of interest. And that will keep volume on the chart, even just in itself.
All right, now we're going to get to the good questions. Since we were talking about the volume, that's actually one of my big, I guess, concerns would be, because like a project like this, right, you do have high taxes. Taxes are, what is it, 15, 18 or?
15, 18.
Okay, yeah, 15% for buys and 18% for sells. And that's going to be the same at, the first hour and 3 years from now, right? It's going to stay consistently.
Yes and no. When we originally got this contract together and the project together, what we did is we reviewed a lot of the issues with the positive rebase tokens of past, the ones that weren't scams to begin with, and tried to figure out where did they go wrong and what did they do, what could have been done better, and tried to incorporate that into what we're doing. So the way our contract is written, taxes can be changed on both buys and sells at any time. So if we see opportunity to bring in a little more volume, we can lower the buy tax and just manipulate it for a little while, have a tax-free or low tax period where things are happening just to get volume and keep things moving, keep the burn going, keep the dividends flowing into people, and use our treasury to support it outside. I mean, it obviously doesn't last forever, but we really don't want to buy into it in the first period. We want the volume to drive itself and then support it as we go. So yes, we need volume on it to maintain it, but we have plans built into it so that we can keep it going, not to mention contests built within the timeline.
Okay. So I guess that's the biggest issue with projects. Like, you mentioned it too. Like, it's either they die off, or even if it's not a scam or a rug, people lose either interest and they just stop trading it. They're either holding it or they already cheated and then they're long gone, right? And especially with higher tax, there's really not much incentive to buy and sell, because the longer the project goes on, the smaller and smaller the fluctuations are. So there would be no point really to, pay the 15% tax to buy and then sell, unless, the actual price needs to go up like 30% or something just to break even, more than 30%. And we noticed, since the whole hype and, the flavor of the month with the low tax tokens, the zero tax tokens, even those, they start off strong with a lot of volume, but even at zero tax, most of them just end up like drying out or almost like dead when you consider, volume. So it makes it even harder for a higher tax token to actually have any volume, let's say 3 months down the line or 6 months down the line. So, and you did say you do have some kind of plans for that. So can you tell us like what you are planning to do to get the volume, consistently going? Because I feel that that's the big part, the driving factor for this token, right? You need the volume to get the burns and to get the reflections, the power reflections. Without a volume, the only thing they're going to be getting is more tokens. So I guess in a way, if you do have people who are just selling their rebase, that will have some volume there on its own.
Yeah, the whole idea is I want people to hold, but at the same token, if we have a price increase and this thing shoots up, I want people to sell. Don't sell everything, sell 25% of your bag. You know, take the profit because it's also going back into our treasury. It's also burning tokens. It's also paying dividends to everyone that's holding. So it keeps it fresh and it gives you some of your return back. So a healthy project of this type is not only buy and hold, it's sell at the right time too. And because it's going to go up, it's going to go down. And if you can time it right, you get a lot out of it. And then on top of that, you have the power reflections, which are your dividends paid directly to the holders. And that can be reinvested here. It can be reinvested in another project. It can be held, you know, as a future investment since this is a brand new chain, or you can take it to CEX and sell it and take your money that way. So there's two sides to it. And what happens with a lot of these positive rebase tokens, like I said, you know, they'll go strong for a couple months, and then you get into month 4 or 5, the rebase really starts dragging it down. That's when people start dropping off. So we've moved that second year in the deflationary opportunity up to month 4. So while people are still interested and it's something new, all of a sudden it's changed. And now you see a little bit of green candles in there with activity. And honestly, if we can do what we're trying to do through the first 3 months and keep the contest going and people rewarded that way, I really don't want to buy back into it out of the treasury until the 4th month, if at all possible, because that's when you're going to get the biggest effect out of it and you'll really see what's going on. And those that can get to that second period and experience it will be around for the next cycle and the long term. And in that point, when we deliver the NFTs and try to generate some revenue in that aspect.
I go ahead.
On top of that, we are purchasing a couple miners to be running in the background, generating power to support both the treasury and the LP. So even without that activity, we've got activity going on in the background.
Okay, perfect. I actually really like the way you guys did it. I think it's a real good idea is you have the higher APY for the first 3 months, and then it slows down. Because let's face it, most projects by month 4, they're probably dead anyways. So month 4 through 6, it slows down, but then it comes back again, month 7 through 9. So that's almost like a game in itself. You know, people are gonna, you know, try to guess what's gonna happen. Should I buy now? Should I sell? Because for example, like just by initially looking at this, my estimate would be, you know, closer to month 4, or once month 4 starts, there's going to be probably massive sell-offs because people that are holding it for the rebase, they know that for the next 3 months, they won't get much out of it. So it's going to be like, oh, if I don't sell, someone else will. So then when there's massive sell-offs, there's also a good price for other people to buy, right? So I feel there's going to be some crazy volatility initially going on over there at month 4, and then it's going to probably slow down until month 6. Once month 7 starts, or right before, I feel like a lot of people, if its price is cheap, there's going to be a good opportunity to buy in for cheap, and then you're going to be getting the high percentage again. So it's going to be some interesting, like an interesting game, quote unquote, type of, or such investment, so it's just better than just like, straight up, APY same a whole year. And then project just dies off. And at that point, high APY on a worthless token doesn't mean anything, right?
Exactly. And that's why, everything we do is community, keep the community involved. The first 6 months is education. See how the token works, see how the tokenomics work, so that in the second half of the first year, we got it and we're going strong, and we bring some new blood in and just really have fun with it.
Yeah, exactly. So since this really hinges, to get people interested and continue to be interested, for the first 3 months, for the whole year, and then onward, and you guys were mentioning how you guys are going to have competitions and all of these kind of things. So let's talk about like a little bit more about the taxes and how will these competitions and events and marketing, how it will be funded, right? Because you were talking about the pre-sale. 75% of pre-sale is going to go to liquidity, and so what's the 25% left over is going? And also we talked a little bit about private. So just from what I see, private is all going to be going towards marketing from now and pre-sale, and they're going to have leftover for marketing, which is probably going to include the competitions at launch, and also the 25% from pre-sale. Is that correct?
That's correct. That is absolutely correct. You want an idea of some of the things that we're doing? We just ran a raffle for an iPollo miner, and it's actually sold out now. So that's just something else to generate a little interest, get people to know us a little more. And we did it in BNB since we've, went into the outreach there. And somebody's going to win a free miner. We're actually running an extended duck race, which we'll disclose details in our TG later about how that works. So somebody's going to get a free miner shipped to them. Then behind that, we're running a secondary contest behind the duck race. And we'll announce that in our Telegram. It's just keep it fresh. Once we launch, we're going to have a biggest buy contest. Not sure how long it's going to last yet, but the reward is going to be a substantial and something different. I'm not going to announce it until we do it because you just want to see it. Whether you invest or not, come in and check it out. Behind that, we have a couple last buy contests planned. We want to keep it fresh. Whatever we do, we want to keep it fresh and interesting and make it worth people's time. Whether, invest, don't invest, put a little bit in, put a lot in, do whatever you want with it, but come in and have fun with us because we're going to have fun with this and keep everybody involved. And we're just one thing after the next. It's not, our voice chat is open in our Telegram every day. People are there. People are engaging. We're not full of a bunch of bots. We don't have 10,000 members that aren't really there. They're just numbers. Everything we have is organic growth. When you go into our TG, you'll talk to somebody just about 24 hours a day, whether it's physically talking or chatting online. We're there. Our website is laid out to support the token, but it's community. Community is everything that we're doing and everything that we're about, and that's what we're going to develop and continue to develop, and that's our outreach throughout the period, and that's what our marketing is based on. I don't want bulk numbers of people that just show up or never show up or fake numbers to make it look good. I'd rather have 2 people that mean something than 200 that are just non-existent.
Definitely. I'm a big proponent of that too. Okay, so one more thing about taxes, and so you guys do have Team Wallet, and you did say that I believe it's going to be completely locked for a year, right?
That's correct.
But there also is that treasury tax and the 5% treasury tax, and that's supposed to be going for marketing. So you have the 5% marketing tax, for buys and sell. You have the 25% from pre-sale. And that's just a one-time thing. And then you have the private sale, which is also a one-time thing. And this 5% treasury tax, that's basically forever, really, until the project is dead or, until it goes to $1 billion market cap, and then you guys take taxes off, Right. So the thing that a lot of teams do, or a way they basically scam the community, is they have a treasury tax or a marketing tax, but they don't really use it for marketing, right? There's no real oversight unless they choose to, or no proof of what they spend it on. So basically, it's kind of like guilty until proven innocent. At least that's the way I view it in most cases. If you have a marketing tax, I'm assuming that's team tax or Team Wallet, because there's no way of really knowing unless they have a spreadsheet and they actually announce things they do to their investors, or write everything down. So do you guys have any like kind of insight on that, like with the marketing tax? Because it's hard to trust, right, with the, especially if the tax is fairly huge. Like 5% is only about a third, but 5% still in itself that's a fairly high tax for marketing. So I would actually want that to be, if I'm an investor, right, I want that to actually be spent on marketing or spent in the right way. Because even if a lot of times also, even though they spend it on marketing, it might not be a good, investment or a good, use of funds. But speaking to you guys, about this AMA and check with Becky, the way you guys were asking questions, I do feel like you are definitely managing your funds wisely. You're not just, booking any old AMA or any old, channel that has, botted, botted views, botted members, botted subscribers. So I did get the vibe that you guys are definitely doing your homework when it comes to, marketing and who to book, where to spend the money. So what's your opinion on this? Because I would say, there's a couple of ways of doing it. You could either have no team wallets and just have a team tax, or you could have team wallets plus team tax, or you could have team wallets and no team tax, but you have marketing, which is what you have here. So are you guys planning to basically also, with the community, the more they trust the developers, the less likely they will sell, and the more likely they will, be buying dips, because they know it's, the devs are actually in it to make the project, a good project. They're not there to make a quick buck. So I think it goes actually a long way for trust factor to, if the developers are making right decisions using their, funds in an appropriate manner. So my question, I guess, is what is your thought on this?
Nice. I'm glad you asked. If you go to our website, down towards the bottom on the left-hand side, you're going to see a button for transparency. And that is where all of the spending out of the marketing or the treasury will be documented. And that will be kept up to date for all time. So you'll see where we're spending our money by hashtag and transaction. Everything that we do, it's there for public view. So if anybody wants to, it's not populated yet because we need to get through pre-sale, then everything will be filled in and that will be kept up on a regular basis. Anybody has any questions, ask them. We have nothing to hide. The idea behind the team is the teams are paid by the team wallet. They have no value until they've held them for a year, which tells you right there, we're looking at long-term. We're not looking to pump it up to $1 million and just dump it out and take the funds and run. On top of that, the team will be paid along the way simply because the power dividends that are paid along the way, the SafuMaxx tokens are locked in those wallets. The power dividends are not. So you're still going to be paid your reflections based on a successful and active project. So it's just that's the incentive for the team. Not to mention we're in it for the fun and just to develop the community. But yes, we've already considered the transparency version of it, and everything that is spent through that treasury wallet is going to be documented for the public.
Honestly, man, that's real awesome. I wish every project does that.
Yeah, people lie, blockchains don't. So
yeah, that's actually perfect. I feel like that should be the requirement literally for every project that, you're actually seriously think about investing. That's not just a pump and dump or a pre-sale play where you just go on pink sale and you sell it within the first hour or so, Yeah. So anything that you take seriously, I feel like the investors need to have some kind of, or the developers need to show some kind of transparency to, and accountability, so investors actually know what's going on. Because in a real company, right, they're gonna have quarterly. They're gonna have all these reports. Everything has to be transparent, unless you're a penny stock. Then penny stocks are just another form of scams, So for the most part,
exactly. Yeah,
I mean, that's perfect. I like that answer. That's probably the best. That's probably the best answer you can give, because that's what we're all about. We want to see the transparency, especially. There's actually a project, I don't want to get too much into it, but there was some project that's been collecting like private sale or so, like for a game for roughly half a year. And someone in my community, asked me to check it out. Literally within 5 minutes, I got the vibe that it's just some bullshit scam. They're just taking, investors' money to fund a game. Even if it's true, it doesn't make sense to me. Like there's zero repercussions if they screw up or if they even don't spend anything and just keep it for themselves. There's no proof of any development. There's nothing. Like if you're gonna be doing it that way, why not just go crowdfunding? Why not just go on what's the one like go main? Why crypto, right? Because I think if you're doing crypto and you're just doing that to like fund the game, then you definitely are hiding something. So I feel like doing it like that, then it's obvious to me, they're not, and I actually asked them, do you guys are releasing anything, how you're spending the money, or like the investors, do you provide anything for investors? And they're basically saying, nope, because we don't have to. I'm like, okay, I guess, I guess I'm moving on.
Yeah, good answer, right?
Yeah. Like, perfect. So I think I mostly got through all my questions. I mean, we could talk, for a long time, but I want to give the community some chances to ask some questions. So let's open it up now for the community. If you guys have any questions, you go ahead. I know I did see some, discussions in here. Someone was asking about private sale earlier. But you guys did say it's mostly just for, friends and family and community leaders. It's not really available for everyone. Also, oh yeah, one more thing. You did mention whitelists. So can you tell us where the pre-sale is going to be held and like how many whitelists? What's the hard cap? Oh, you did say $1,200, right? $1,200. So
Right.
like how to get the whitelist and where it's going to be at, and how the whitelist will work, and if you're planning to open to the public after 10 minutes or so.
Yeah, right now there are 2 tiers of whitelist and then a public offering behind that. So the first opportunity will be a tier 1 whitelist, which is basically, again, not necessarily private, but another friends and family and lounge owners and that level have first opportunity to buy in. After that level, we're talking 10 minutes into the project or so, we're actually going to publish the pre-sale details here within the next day or two. Will be tier 2, which is being awarded through things like this and different competitions communities. Stop into our TG and talk to us, and we're awarding whitelist spots for tier 2. And then if it doesn't sell out by the time tier 2 is done, that time frame, then it will go public until either the pre-sale sells out or it closes and we burn the difference, and then we go to launch. The benefit of the pre-sale obviously is a little bit better on price, but it's also tax-free. And once we launch, the taxes are in effect and you're gaining your dividends.
Where are you holding the pre-sale?
Right now, we are not 100% decided between Novation, who is coming live on MaxxChain, or with the Max Deployer, which is probably where we're leaning to right now. Just the type of contract and what we feel works best for us. But I haven't got confirmation from Novation that they're going to be ready, so that will make our decision really easy. And we're tying that up within the next day or two. So our private sale is done all in USDT because we started it before the chain launched. The pre-sale and after launch will all be done in Power. So anybody that's interested, load up on your Power, come see us, and we'll work something out.
Oh, that's another thing I want to talk about. The way the onboarding, offboarding works, and how do you actually, if you want to invest, how to get in. So for private sale, it's in USDT. So you could do, Ethereum, BNB, right? So it's
right.
Anyway, basically, you don't have to do any extra steps. And for pre-sale, you're gonna need to get Power. So the only way to get Power, really, right now, right? I'm not sure. Can you does the DEX work, or do you have to go on get it from that one centralized exchange currently?
Right now, the only way to get Power is through the coinstore.com exchange, or you can mine it, of course. But that's your limitation right now. There's actually a bridge that's coming on board here very soon, where you'll be able to bridge the other coins into Power. So that's coming very soon. It's just not live quite yet. And there's also a couple of DEXs that are going live within the next couple of weeks. So in the beginning, it's going to be, your choices are very limited, but as time goes on, the world is opening up.
Yeah, and that also, another point there is, especially with private sale, you're coming in with USDT, but there's no way to really withdraw, tangible funds or, something that you could take to your bank account unless you go through the coin store, right? Because the only way to do that is you're going to have to sell your tokens for Power on the DEX. Because are you guys going to be pairing liquidity with Power or with that's the only option, right?
Yeah, there is a USDT on chain, but I don't know that if it can go off chain. So right now we are pairing with Power. Are there other options? Yes, absolutely. We could and have discussed it and are thinking about it pairing with a Max token, since Max has a bridge that's live between BSC and Ethereum. And that would be another onboard, but there's a tax involved in that we really don't want to get into too much. We are we're on our website, we will have our own DX basically, where you'll be able to buy our token right there. We're looking into being able to purchase it with BSC or Ethereum, but it's still in the process, so I can't tell you day one you'll be able to. Day one you'll be able to use Power. So you want to get Power. There was a large pre-sale, so many people already have. Those that don't, right now your best option is coinstore.com. But like I said, if you go there, it was launched at 0.012 USDT. Right now it's holding steady around 0.016. It goes up a little, goes down a little, but it's been there since Friday. It's just a beautiful chart, if you will. There's not those dumps that come on with the new chains. There's not spikes or any. I mean, it's really nice and steady.
Yeah. Yep. It looks like a stable coin with steps. It goes up and down, but it's just.
We're going to change that next week, but I just hope it stays there until we launch.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, right? If investors need to go get Power to for the pre-sale, they're gonna have to buy it on there. So and the liquidity is probably fairly low, or the market, or the order book. So they're gonna have to go buy small amounts at a time, or else it's gonna just have huge wicks on the exchange. You probably just as of now, you probably just can't go and buy $5,000 worth, because it's gonna like shoot up like crazy, and then it's gonna drop back down, right? Because the order book is not that thick yet.
Yeah. It's not that thick. They're getting some volume on there, but not major volume right now, because really the projects are just not launched yet. Once everybody starts coming on, you're going to see a lot of things happening there, and be very interesting. I mean, they just burned 600 million Power, which yesterday or the day before, which definitely puts a pinch on the supply. It's going to make things really interesting when all the projects start launching and everything going on. We'll see what happens. It's going to be very exciting.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be very interesting. So basically, guys, as of now, the only way to get in really is you got to use the coin store, centralized exchange. And if you actually want to take cash out, either BUSD or USDT or anything that you could go transfer to actual bank accounts, the only way is CoinStore also, right? Because there's no actual bridges yet that you could convert to Ethereum or BNB, but that's coming in the future. So everyone needs to be aware of that. Basically, it's easier to get in, but it's a new exchange, so eventually all of those problems will go away. But at the same time, if you actually are investing into a new exchange, you really shouldn't be offboarding, onboarding all the time. The whole point is to get in early, and then you wait until everything settles, because especially once they start adding the bridges, I'm guessing the price will probably start going up, because more and more people will be buying it up. It'll make it easier. They don't have to go mess with CoinStore or any other centralized exchange.
Yeah, that's where I see it too. Block Blend is actually supplying the bridge that is in process. I'm not sure how soon it will be live, but I know it's definitely happening and the agreement's been announced.
Yep, exactly. All right, so let's go continue on to the community. Do you guys have any questions? I know there were a couple guys that are asking us when can we ask questions. Okay, Mr. Mouse. Mr. Mouse, go ahead. Ask your question if you could hear us. Is Mr. Mouse in chat? In voice chat, I don't know. Let's see. I'll give a couple minutes for questions if no one's speaking up. Yeah, you could ask in chat.
Hello guys, can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for giving me the.
Are you to ask a question? If anyone's speaking, I don't hear you anymore. Or if just ask in chat so you could type it up. Okay, so there's one question in chat. So can you ask how many different prompt types for the NFTs? Yeah.
Can I ask my question now?
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
All right. Thanks for giving me the opportunity.
So are you going to ask?
How do you want to make your project the best from other one? Can I go on?
Yeah, go ahead. You don't have to ask permission.
Can I go on? Am I audible? All right. I said, how do you want to make your project the best from other one? Since you guys are still in the stage of development and doing a lot of marketing, more people would come into the project and want to use the platform. So how sure are you that there won't be glitches or bug as more people use your platform at the same time? And if we complain, how fast will you guys be on helping or solving these issues?
What was that now? I'm sorry.
I think it was about how sure are you or how this project make it the best it could be versus just, all these other projects. Because as of now, it's really mostly just in a way like a meme, right? It's a rebase token. And you're going to have the NFTs later. So it's not like you guys going to have some actual, game or app or utility. It's more about just the community.
It's all about the community. Call me a meme coin. I have a heart attack there. Yeah, it's all about the community. Everything we do is about the community involvement and keeping it fresh and keeping it fun while we're developing the utility behind it. A lot of these rebase projects, come in and say they're going to do something and then they never do anything, or they can't decide what they're going to do or have no plan behind it. The NFTs, it's coming. It's under development. We just want it to be right before it's released. So the idea behind it is grab your position, you know where we're going with it, and you know what's coming. So right now, it's community involvement, grow the community, keep people engaged, and that's what we're going for.
What will be the purpose of the NFTs, though? Is it just for fun?
It's just for fun. We may add some utility into it later as we get into it, but it's just for fun. If you want to exhort your creative side, go for it. See what you come up with. See what it comes out. I mean, if you go into a lot of the the image generation websites, you'll see what's going on with that and the interest, and that's what we're after. It's more for fun than anything.
So basically what you guys are doing is you're taking the AI image generation, which already exists, like, like a Telegram bot, whatever, you just like, put the prompt in, but you're also at merging that with the NFT. So not only do you get the image, it would actually create an NFT. So you could actually use it as an NFT, right? Not just the, just the JPEG file, right?
Correct, exactly. And what we're looking into is doing multiple images. So that generation will do more than one, different image on it, and also multiple same images. So if you want to try to do something, you could have 10 of the same NFTs. It's a set 1 through 10 of the same thing. Just, if you look at some of the things in the past, some of the artistry and artists, the numbered pictures that they print and different things, you'd be able to do the same thing with the NFT if it's something you really like and go with. So just different spins on the same concept. And like you said, instead of having a JPEG, you've got something that's on the blockchain. It's there forever. It's yours. It's assigned to you. Do with it whatever you want. And we'll probably get more into the marketplace or join into the Max marketplace, which is coming live, and just different things. It's for fun, for creativity. Give people something to do on the blockchain side, not just the Web 2 side.
I just got an idea, and I feel like this would actually be very useful if you guys could implement something like this. Is not just an NFT, one at a time, but how like all the NFT projects from the past, how they had, random or overlays, or they had like 5 different filters on there, and some of them are rare. If there's a way to use the NFT generator that you guys are doing, to even for project developers to create NFTs. Let's say I want to have 10,000 NFTs, and you could do a bulk generation, and I want to have like maybe like this layer would be very rare, this hat would be very rare, and so you could input the stuff, or even create maybe 10 NFT at a time, and some of them are going to have a much lower. Do you know what I mean? To actually use it as a way to generate NFTs for projects based on rarity and some attributes, different types, of attributes.
I know exactly what you mean because I've been thinking about it. We haven't announced it because we don't know if we can do it yet. So always something in the background.
Yeah, but I feel like, how instead of spending $10,000 for, an artist and creating NFTs, if someone could just use this and make their own, literally, and of course change, have all the different prompts for different images. And that's another question. How many different prompts will be available for the different art themes? How nowadays how it works, you just type something in, the more keywords you use, the more,
I can't answer that yet. We're still in development. So the more detailed and the more information that comes out as we progress through it, we'll be able to answer those questions, and we will. There will be trials and different things within our TG, within our community. So if you have interest, come on in. Even if you want to see what's going on with that, and come on in.
All right. Thanks for answering my question.
Thank you.
Mr. Mouse, didn't you have another question?
Yes. Can I go on to my second question?
Yeah.
All right, thanks. So my second question is, community support is one of the biggest aspects of the project success. Most projects have programs that interact with their users. What are your specific plans to attract or expand the community and improve the user's experience? And does your current project take into account the various inputs and demands of your community?
We will always take questions and suggestions from our community. We are community-based. We're driving this token. We have a plan behind it. We'll stick to our core plan. But if our community has an idea that will drive us into a better direction or an improvement of what we're doing, we're all for it.
All right. Thanks for giving me the opportunity. What a great project here.
I'm sorry?
I said thanks for giving me the opportunity to ask my question.
Oh, thank you for the question.
Yeah, what a great project.
Thank you.
Any more questions? Oh, there's another one from Rachel. Will there be anti-bot measures for launch and pre-sale? Well, pre-sale is whitelist. Launch, I'm not really sure if that's even needed. Do you guys have any anti-bot? Well, it's on MaxxChain. I don't even know there's any snipers on MaxxChain, if that's even a thing.
Yeah, not that I know of.
So the answer is no. I have not put any anti-bot.
Well, you got to think about it, right? Especially with the high
Right.
taxes, anti-bot or bots are just going to give you more taxes, more volume. So.
Yep, exactly.
Any more questions, guys? Oh, go ahead.
I have. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah,
Yes,
I can hear you.
Yeah, okay. I heard you have high taxes, right? I think Borja already asked about it, but were you considering lowering those taxes in the future?
The taxes are where they are for the project, but we will lower them at different times for community engagement. They are adjustable, but we're not long-term wise, we are not looking to change them. The taxes and the high taxes are required to support the project in the way which it runs.
I have another question.
Yes.
Have you looked into some other projects with high taxes? How they actually were doing after like a year or two?
Absolutely. Most of them never make it the first year, and that's part of why our taxes are adjustable. If long term we're where we want to be and we don't need the taxes, we can change them. But definitely, at least during the first year, it's required with a high rebase and the behind it. The positive thing about the taxes where they are is it's supporting the treasury, which is supporting the community. It's also paying dividends to the holders. So, and then on top of that, it's making the burn. So your circulation tokens at some point are going to be dropping and dropping and dropping, because that burn wallet is the dead wallet, and all of the tokens inside that wallet are also rebasing. So it never goes down. They never get drawn back into circulation, and they just keep going away.
And can you also adjust the rebase amount, like a percentage? For example, if you lower the taxes, right, for prolonged period of time, without lowering the inflationary version rebase, right, it was dump the price. That's what I'm asking.
We have no plans to change the rebase period whatsoever for the life of the project. It is what we're built around, and we're proving rebase works in the form that it is, and we're very strong about that. Taxes we can do with to engage people, but the rebase is what we're built off of.
Okay, fine.
Thank you.
Any more questions? Oh, about whitelists. Who wants whitelists? How many are we giving out?
Bro, are you on here?
Yeah, I'm on here. You could give out 15 whitelists if you want.
I have another question, if I may.
Yes, sir.
Were you implementing any Monte Carlo simulations into the rebase? The amount, etc. Monte Carlo simulation. Were you using any of that? For example,
No.
to project how many? No. Okay.
If you're looking for projections, our DApp will give you projections of both the rebase and what's going on in the project, long-term, short-term, where you are, what you've got into it. So from that aspect, the DApp will take care of it. So you can see.
What I'm saying is Monte Carlo simulation, it shows to you like developers, right? what will happen if, for example, in the worst case scenario, in the best case scenario, and you have, you get like thousands or hundreds of thousands of simulations, you run it, and then you get, like more or less picture what can happen with it. That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, no, we have nothing built into it. The rebase itself is a fixed percentage during the periods, so it's not variable. It doesn't change. It stays with it during the period. So the only thing that you'd get out of it is price differentiation. So,
yes, and that's on what you would want actually to run this simulation. For example, what will happen if the amount of trading people will drop, right? And then you would get, the amount. That's why I'm asking about it.
Yeah,
because I'm working as an analytic. That's why.
That's okay. Yeah, it basically, some things will be built into the app, some things will not. The price fluctuations and everything there, we probably won't get into that much detail with it. It's still in development, so maybe we can add some things as we go. But right now, the DAP is basically projections on the counts, and it may get dollars and cents. The dollars and cents in this type of program really don't mean anything, because a lot of the DAPs will promise you the moon, and ours will show it too, but long term, things change so fast. You have to keep the reality under check.
Otherwise, the reality will check you, will keep you under check.
Yes, exactly.
Do you guys have the ability in the code to change the rebase percentages? Like manually?
Mr. Magoo, are you here?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I missed the question though.
He's asking if the rebase can be changed within the contract if we wanted to.
I mean, if you want it to, I can make it so it can. That's enough thing.
Well, my question is, you know how we talked about the rebase, like months 0 through 3, and then 4 through 5. Is that all automatic, or are you going to manually go in the contract and change the rebase?
No,
it's all automatic. It goes by the epochs. It measures, how much time has passed. So all of those numbers they are fixed in the contract.
Okay, so does that mean that you guys could also do the, what do you call it? You could, what's the word? I can't think of it right now. Where you relinquish the ownership of the contract?
It's not happening. No. There are too many variables, too much in this, that we need to have control over what goes on to it to relinquish the contract. Just too many things can go wrong, and once that's done, the project is gone if anything gets out of control.
Yeah,
if something goes wrong
agree.
right now, we can fix it.
But let's say like a year down the line.
A year down the line is a year down the line. The possibility is there, but like I said, it is not in the plan.
Okay. I mean, I'm not really for it or against it anyway. I was just wondering.
Basically,
but just a question.
Give me 1 second. I'm sorry. To me, to relinquish a contract means you're basically removing yourself from it. And right now, that's not in the plan. If we ever wanted to walk away and leave this to continue to run on its own, that's when it would be relinquished. Other than that, we're part of it.
Okay. Yeah, I actually prefer that. A lot of projects where they do that, well, the reason why they are doing it is to get some, trust from the community, but a lot of times it doesn't really matter because there's always some loopholes or whatever, or even if they might not even do it, even if they say they are. So I'm not really a big fan of it myself. Like I have projects that I've been, the owner for the last 2-3 years, and there's no way I'm ever gonna, relinquish control.
Exactly.
I mean, if I can touch on this a little bit, that's renouncing a contract is, it's a gimmick for people that don't have any trust within their community. You know, it's a degen type of thing to do to renounce a contract. You know, all you're inviting is degen players, and then, you know, of the likes of like Pepe and those type of things where it's, I mean, that's what they built themselves on, but it's because you don't know the team. And so when you're investing in a project like this, where you're expecting development and you're expecting things like that, and you know the team has been around in this space, I mean, renouncing really, it doesn't do much for anything. And it really limits yourself in the future. Especially, you know, as this is a high tax token, renouncing would kill it, because the token will need to adapt with whatever's coming to it. You know, and if that means that we can lower the taxes because everything is doing as it should, the rebase rate has come down, you know, but ultimately it's an inflationary to deflationary token, where for a little bit it's inflationary and then it's deflationary, which is, I mean, it's good for the investments. And somebody brought up the fact that 75% LP was a little high, but when you're an inflationary token, you're better off starting with a high LP, because it will be diluted as the inflationary period occurs. And then when the deflationary occurs, it's going to bring the market cap down to better levels. And, you know, it's healthy for a project like this not to renounce a contract.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And like all the Pepe ones, like you mentioned, all those. Well, one of the reasons they renounced is because so the, you know, other whales could get in. But let's face it, all those are all just insiders. It's basically like the mafia. They buy it all up, and then, you know, they send it, and then everyone buying, you know, after them gets screwed. And one reason or one excuse they could to just basically let it die is because, well, it's renounced, we don't own it anymore, so there's nothing, we don't have to do anything. They sell their bags, they sell their early bags, and then just let the project go on its own. And it's all just a one big giant farm. So yeah, I actually do prefer. Yep.
The environment we play in, right?
Exactly. All right. Anyone else? Any comments, suggestions, questions? If not, we could wrap it up. You guys want to do a closing statement?
Sure. Wanted to thank you, Andy Ruggers, for having us here. Thank the community and everyone for showing up. We got some really exciting things going on. Our pre-sale starts on Monday. We launch on Thursday of next week and turn the rebase on Friday. We are a positive rebase token with dual rewards, both the SafuMaxx and the Power, which is the native coin of the chain. Developing AI for the image generation NFTs. Just keep people involved and keep things interesting. So come join our TG, watch what's going on, invest if you like. Come meet us and get to know the team anyway. Thank you for having us.
All right, thanks, guys. Thanks for coming. Thanks for letting us do the MA with you guys. And honestly, it's a exciting project. It's one of the first. I don't know if it's the first one that will be launching on MaxxChain, but it's definitely one of those projects where you never know. You know, we're really early on a chain, real early on this project, and you know, it could be huge.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting.
Yep. So thanks, guys. Thanks, everyone, for coming. I'm going to end the recording right now, and we'll be doing the giveaways.
Thank you.
Thanks, and good luck on your finishing your private sale and pre-sale and at launch. And I'll see you guys at pre-sale.
Yes, sir. Thank you.